Okay, this video is to demonstrate an unusual piece of gear, actually a couple of them, but starting with the amplifier. This is what I know about this amp. This, I believe, is the cabinet from a 1960s Supro Model 24 amplifier. It could also be the cabinet was from something else as well, but the cabinet is all solid wood around the edge. The baffle has been replaced. Originally the Model 24 would have had a single 12-inch speaker, I think, and this has been replaced with two 10-inch speakers. The speakers that are in it now are Eminence Legends. The grill cloth and the logo are definitely aftermarket. I think this handle may be original, which leads me to believe this is not. This may not be an original Valco or Supro amp. It could be that this was from one of the 60s Harmony amplifiers also, which they built some. Valco built some of those as well, so it's possibly still a Valco cabinet. But the amplifier that's in it, and actually I'll show you that here briefly. The amplifier that's actually in this thing is a modified Hammond AO-29 chassis. This faceplate is all new. The person who built this built it with the following specs. They built it to have essentially the preamp of a Marshall JCM800, and it has the output section of like an 18-watt Marshall. So it has two EL-84s in the output section, and it has the pretty much more or less the same preamp as a Marshall JCM800. So if you like the Marshall JCM800 50 or 100 watt tone, or the JMP's series from the late 70s, if you like that sort of tone, this has it, but at a lot lower volume level due to the output tubes being EL-84s instead of the 34s. But here's what it sounds like. Really kick-ass sounding amp. The controls are mid, bass, treble, master, volume, and a gain, just like the Marshall JCM800s from the early 80s, except this one's all hand-wired as well, so you know, a little bit better in that sense, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's a hodgepodge. It's a weird thing, but it came out sounding great. And here, I'll show you what I mean. The guitar that I'm using is a 1982 Yamaha SC600. Originally, this would have had 3 single coil pickups. The pickups are all changed out, but this was kind of close by, and it's got the single coil and the neck pickup, which sounds really, really great with this. The gain is only about halfway up. The master volume is maybe on about 3 or so. If I crank the master volume a little bit more, you're going to... Really touch sensitive. just really hard to get a bad tone out of it, no matter where you set the dials. You know, if you crank up the mids and the treble and back the bass all the way down, yeah, you probably get a pretty harsh tone. But other than that, I mean, it's really kind of hard to get a bad tone if you set everything sort of straight up and down. I mean, this is okay. Here's everything practically straight up and down. Killer amp, a lot of punch, a lot of gain. I think it's pretty good design with the JCM800 preamp going into more of an 18-watt output section. It's really nice. It's got it does have tube rectification. I believe, if I remember correctly, I think that's correct. Let me look again. But we'll actually look at it in a second. Let you see the back of it and everything. But there, yeah, it is actually tube rectified. Right now I think it's a 5Y3 that's in there. The speakers again are Eminence Legends, and we can actually take a look at that right now. Yeah, here's the back of the amp, and here are the 10-inch Eminence Legends speakers. I'm not sure on the power handling on these, but they've got enough power handling, way more than enough, I think, for this amp. The tubes are all JJs, I believe, and actually the rectifier I think might be a GZ34. But there are the tubes, and they're kind of tucked under in a weird way. You can see you can kind of see inside the amp and see that everything was hand done. And this is an old Hammond AO-29 chassis that's been converted. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it definitely does the job. And from the top, it looks pretty decent. I'll show you the top a little closer here. There's the input, gain, master, treble, bass, mids, indicator light, and there are switches for standby and on-off, fuse. So all the standard stuff. The cabinet, once again, is all solid wood. Cool cabinet. Not exactly sure of its origins. I think it may be a 60s Valco. I'm pretty certain it's vintage, whatever it was, for sure. I'm not sure who made it though, but but I was told it was a Supro Model 24. I have my reservations about calling it that because I'm just really not sure. For one thing, I don't think the Model 24 was exactly this color, and I think most of those Model 24s had piping, had a line of piping right here that kind of wrapped all the way around. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm not going to go out on a limb and call it that, but it very well could be. So anyway, that's what I know about it. That's what it is. Killer amp. It doesn't really matter to me where it came from as far as this one goes, because it was handmade anyway. It's kind of put together from a hodgepodge of parts, but for what it is, it's a absolutely incredible amp. Sounds awesome in person. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's inexpensive, hand wired, and extremely good tone, this might be the ticket.